I know you're aware of this, but just to update our viewers, in the last few moments we can now name the suspected terrorist attack yesterday. A 29-year-old Salid Keita, originally from Sudan. So that's the very latest line that we have. I suppose more importantly, is London safe, Mr. Mayor?
Well, it is. I think London is one of the safest global cities in the world, and thankfully, yesterday the numbers of people injured was far smaller than it could have been. 3 people injured, and thankfully the level of injuries they sustained isn't as serious as it could have been. As your reporter said, 1 person treated at the scene, 2 people taken to hospital, released very quickly after being treated in a hospital. And what we saw yesterday was the planning, the practice, the preparation that our police service, that our emergency services, that our security services do pay dividends. And by the way, what was remarkable yesterday was the speed and the bravery with which our police responded, not knowing who was inside the car, what was inside the car. You saw as the police raced into the barriers, police officers, some unarmed, some are armed, rushed towards this vehicle. And I've got nothing but gratitude and appreciation for our police service, but we must never be complacent and always vigilant.
Yeah, we're seeing pictures of what happened yesterday outside Westminster, and you're right. Many people have already commented on the amazing job that emergency services do. You talk about the image of London internationally. It's crucial, isn't it, that those who come here for tourism, not just to London but wider across the UK, that we maintain that image that the capital is a safe place to be, a safe place to holiday, a safe place to work. Do you think damage internationally is being done to the reputation of London?
I think what we've seen over the last few years, the last few months in particular, is cities, not just London, but targeted by terrorists. London, Manchester in this country, Paris, Berlin, Brussels, Madrid, Boston, New York, Istanbul, around the world. And what the terrorists seek to do is not simply to kill and injure, but is to disrupt our way of life. And I'm reassured as the mayor, working with the government, with the police, with the security services, with the emergency services, we're doing all we can to keep our cities as safe as we possibly can do. Tourists and Londoners will see today in central London an increased police presence, some armed, some unarmed. They won't see the covert work taking place by the police and by their experts. And we always evolve and find new ways to keep our cities safe. Just like the bad guys, the terrorists are evolving and finding new ways to harm us. But we must never be complacent. We always are adapting, tweaking, tinkering, and seeing if there are more things we can do to keep our city as safe as we can do.
In terms of those changes, I'm sure you've seen many people say that you should look at pedestrianising that area around Westminster. So, those attacks we've seen using vehicles can't happen. Is that something you're looking at?
I'm an advocate of pedestrianising that part of Parliament Square. Not simply will it make Parliament Square more attractive, but there are clever technical ways to make Parliament and pedestrians and visitors safer as well. Many of your viewers will have seen clever design ways to make buildings more difficult for hostile vehicles to attack them. Around Whitehall, there are now very attractive small bollards in place which actually stop vehicles hitting pedestrians or buildings. We've had temporary solutions over the last 18 months post-Westminster, but I think we need a permanent solution to the fact that we now know terrorists will target pedestrians, will target buildings. We also know, actually, because of the work we've undertaken around Parliament Square, the numbers of people injured was thankfully small, and the injuries they sustained also was thankfully small. But we must never stand still, and we're always looking at new ways to keep that part of our city, but also other parts of our city, and indeed around the country, as safe as we can do.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to talk to you about what's going on in your party at the moment as well, as soon as we have you on today. I mean, during your time in charge there in London, you've made a lot about the multicultural aspect of London, and that's been a message which you have preached on numerous occasions. With that in mind, what do you make of the fact that the Labour Party and Jeremy Corbyn at the moment in particular can't make a clear statement and remove the stain of anti-Semitism and those allegations that continue to come at the moment towards the Labour Party?
I think the Labour Party has been too slow to respond to very serious allegations of anti-Semitism within our party. I think the Labour Party, we've been too slow in kicking out from our party members who clearly have views that are disgraceful, that are anti-Semitic. I'm reassured by what the new General Secretary has said, that she will, over the course of this summer, speedily investigate all those members against whom allegations have been made. The Labour Party must have zero tolerance towards racism. Anti-Semitism is a form of racism. It breaks my heart that I've got friends, there are Londoners, who because of their faith, their Jewish faith, feel, in my view wrongly, that the Labour Party is not a home for them. And I think it's got to come from the leadership of the party. That includes the leader, the National Executive Committee, and all of us, to make sure we weed out any members of our party who have anti-Semitic views.
With that in mind then, is Jeremy Corbyn the right man to do that? Because he doesn't seem to have a zero tolerance approach.
He absolutely is. Look, I've worked with Jeremy Corbyn as a London parliamentarian for many years. He's been an anti-racist campaigner for many, many years. He will be as disappointed as I am by the length it's taken to kick out some members of our party. We've got to make sure our party is welcoming to decent people. Look, good political parties, reflect society. Great ones shape society. I want anybody who's got anti-Semitic views, anybody who's got racist views, to realise the Labour Party is not a place for them. Not simply must we make sure the Labour Party is not a place for them, we must also make sure we use the influence we have as a mainstream political party, not simply to pass laws to outlaw discrimination, but to lead by example. And that means showing from the very top, the NEC must make sure we kick out from our party anybody with these sorts of racist views. Anti-Semitism is a form of racism. There must be no hierarchy when it comes to racism.
One final one on this then. Bearing in mind what you're saying there, does there need to be then a clear line drawn in the sand? Because I know you're saying the Labour Party need to make it clear and you have a leader who can do that, but it doesn't appear to be clear at the moment. So why isn't it being sorted out?
Well, I'm as disappointed as many viewers who support Labour, who are members of the Labour Party, that this is an issue that seems to be carrying on. It's really important the Labour Party leads by example. In City Hall, since I became mayor, for example, we use the definition of anti-Semitism recognised by groups around the world. I would want the Labour Party to adopt that definition. I understand the NEC will be looking at this again very shortly. I understand the General Secretary has put more resources in place to speedily investigate those members against whom allegations of anti-Semitism have been made. We've got to make sure that members of not just the Jewish community, but other communities as well, who find it abhorrent that a mainstream political party isn't speedily dealing with these allegations, deals with them speedily, so that we can do what we need to do, which is to be Her Majesty's official opposition, ready to form the next government. And as the next government, will make sure not only do we pass laws that reduce discrimination, reduce racism within our country, but also we lead by example.
Sadiq Khan, thank you very much for joining us on Breakfast this morning. Good to talk to you.
19 minutes past 8, time to have a catch-up with Carol again. Morning.
Good morning, both. Good morning to you too. Today's weather is a bit of a north